Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dave Station VR, and I'm doing a review wrap-up for this week, because so many damn games came out for PSVR that it's hard to keep up with them all, and I figured I'd just throw them all in one video. So, there's a lot to talk about here. Let's get into it. Alright, so first up we've got Apollo 11 Experience, which has been out in other countries for a long time, just now finally got released in the United States. A lot of people have been looking forward to it for a long time. It's sort of like an educational experience, sort of a documentary about Apollo 11, obviously. And the music is really dramatic. The presentation is really dramatic, but the graphics and the gameplay sort of fall short of what it's going for, I think. You know, I think if you're really into space and you're a space buff and you want to watch a VR documentary about Apollo 11 and what it was like and all that stuff, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of it. But the gameplay is not a lot of fun. It's really technical, really difficult, and they don't give you much hand-holding in the few segments that you play. The only really fun part is jumping around on the moon and walking around on the moon, and that is cool. Oh, my cat is knocking stuff over. Okay, so I feel like I can tell what it's going for, but it's not at a level of polish or, you know, maybe wasn't designed far enough ahead in the VR life cycle that it seems like an older, kind of like, should have been a launch title, and maybe people would have enjoyed it more. So, you know, I'll give it maybe like a 7. I'm using numbers now because this is a review wrap-up, so I'm using numbers. 7. Alright, the next one on my list is The Monkey King, aka Digital Domains, The Monkey King, which is more of an app. They call it an app. It's not a game. You don't play anything. But as far as like cinematic VR experiences go, they do a few new things, and if for kids, you know, it might be something kind of cool. The story falls apart in the 3rd chapter. It's basically, they sell it to you as a 3-chapter experience, and technically more is coming in the future. You've seen stuff like this before with like Faded or other games that say, oh, it's just chapter 1 of a longer, and then, yeah, who knows when the fucking rest of the game's gonna come out. But with this one, I think I've seen enough. There are cool moments, like some of the character design looks pretty good, but the storytelling sort of falls short. It's like they condensed a Chinese myth into this thing where all the dialogue is just people telling you exactly what happened in the story or is going to happen. It's like a summary of what's going on instead of people talking like real people. This one, if we're doing numbers again, I'm going to say maybe like a 5.5, 6. Then, of course, we've got Theseus, which is one that everyone's curious about. And essentially, it's a Greek myth told in the style of Uncharted with no gameplay. You just climb a few things. Occasionally, they have you fight with some really, really floaty combat that doesn't feel very good. There's all these weird fixed camera angles. Like, it's cool when it's following you. Follow VR cameras are the way to go. Developers, if you're listening, follow VR cameras. That's what I like. That's what people like. Fixed camera angles are weird in this game. Your guy will start on the right side of a room and you can't even see him and you have to crane your neck to the right side. And then you're like, oh, I guess I'll follow him all the way to the left side of the room with my head. And it's just not, it doesn't really add to the fun. It's just an extra thing you have to do. So, you know, overall the graphics are good in this game. I think they try to do something campaign-wise that nobody else has done in VR, but there's just not a whole lot to it, and the parts where you are called upon to do something gameplay-wise just don't really feel fully baked, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is combat, I've got a sword, I've got a, you know, a fucking torch and everything, but I'm just not having fun. I don't feel like this is a full game. It just feels like an experience, you know, like a lot of things we've had before. So for 20 bucks, it's up to you if you think that's interesting or not. I think it's about 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, and supposedly there's a second ending if you go back and collect all the secret items. I don't know anything about that, but numerically speaking, Theseus is going to come in at like maybe a 6.8, like, it looks good. It does new things for PSVR, but it also just recycles existing, adventure game concepts like Uncharted and Tomb Raider and stuff. It just feels like a poor man's one of those games. So, Last but not least is Smashbox Arena, which I didn't know anything about, but it is a dodgeball, like, deathmatch arena game. And it's really fun in multiplayer online. And unfortunately, there's no voice chat built in. But if you get a party going with your friends and you've all got the voice chat, it is a ton of fun. Even without that, there's some really cool standoff moments because you can shoot a dodgeball at somebody and then they can catch it and throw it back at you. And then you can catch it and throw it back at them. So there are these, moments where you're just sitting there and it's like, oh my god, what's going to happen, what's going to happen? And it's a ton of fun. Really cool multiplayer game. Hopefully more people get out there and play it. I have been enjoying it quite a bit. The price is maybe a little steep. It's $30, and it's not the most polished game in the world. I've noticed in online matches, like, some frame rate issues, some lag, that kind of stuff. But hopefully they'll patch that up. For what it is, I think if you're interested in sort of an online VR dodgeball experience, it's a ton of fun. And the $30 price point, you can kind of decide if that's something you want to take the plunge on. But I'm going to give Smashbox like an 8.5. It's fun. It's real good. Check it out. Alright, so I think that's everything for this week. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Thank you so much, and goodbye.